It is too expensive to dispose of them, so the cheapest option is landfill.
Leisure or tourism should not have any negative impact on the nature that we are trying to enjoy.
We really need more information to understand the impact these boats are having on the ecosystem.
The boating industry has not got its collective heads together enough to come up with the end-of-life solutions for the products that it produces.
We know very well that our oceans are full of plastic. We're throwing about 1.5 million tons per year, and that is roughly about 1 kilogram per person per month. Some of the research that I've done together with my colleagues here in Chichester Harbour is looking at the best method to collect water samples and sediment samples so that we can identify the microplastic in the water.
Well, historically, oyster fishing in Chichester Harbour was massive. In the last sort of 10 years, it's in a slow decline in the catch until this last year. The fishery authorities, Sussex IFCA, actually closed the fishery for a season.
We found this in oysters. We thought, what on earth is this? Tiny tubes, very transparent, about 100 microns, so that's 1/10 of a millimeter, and 7,000 of them in an oyster, collected in December in Chichester Harbour. Those are the glass microfibers.
Hi, my name's Kelsey. I'm a river steward here at the Connecticut River Conservancy. We are a watershed nonprofit for the entire Connecticut River. One way that we connect people with the river is through our annual Source to Sea cleanup, when we have volunteer groups who go out and they pick up all kinds of trash. Last year, some volunteers pointed out to me abandoned boats in the Connecticut portion of the river. And we don't have a great system for dealing with them when they're ready to throw away these vessels. We really need more information to understand the impact these boats are having on the ecosystem. Information like, are they shedding microparticles into the river? How do these boats impact the habitat for fish or birds? What we really need is more applied research to understand the overall impact of fiberglass vessels on the river.
With regard to the problem, or the growing problem, of end-of-life fibre-reinforced plastic or glass-reinforced plastic boats, I live very close to the main yachting river in the United Kingdom, Hamble, where there is a large number of GRP boats based on marinas and in the Centre River Channel. And whilst there's all these beautiful luxurious boats in the middle of the river, there are also abandoned old boats by the sides of the river in some places, which have been sat there in some cases for 30 to 40 years and show no signs of degrading. Going to landfill is a big problem, although that's what happened with a great deal of them. The research certainly showed that there are state people working hard on the subject matter, and I myself have become more drawn into this, having written the report and received subsequent interest, and I'm now associated with Dr. Karina Chokin of Brighton University, and we're looking at funding opportunities with a view to getting research done. And I continue to receive inquiries about it because there are concerns about the disposal of these things from boat builders, from boat yards and boat owners.
I am John Rowe, the founder and director of the Dead Boat Society and the Veins of Life Watershed Society. We inventory, remove, assessment, disposal of dead boats and debris from our shores in British Columbia, 3,400 kilometers of shoreline. For this project, we're going to look at Gabbro Bay. It borders Saanich and Oak Bay, Victoria, BC. Gabbro Bay, we've been active here restoring this bay since 1996, having removed over 50 vessels and 100 metric tons of debris since our environmental concerns. So we know what these vessels are made of. We work in heavy industry and actually build some vessels, but we also know from testing throughout the other areas in our harbors and various areas of BC just what is showing up in our water columns. Our federal and provincial governments view a lot of this debris as just, if it's there and it's not leaking oil or any hydrocarbons, it's really not an issue.
We take in boats like this, end-of-life boats, and we dispose of them. And it's not as straightforward as a process as you think. And it's really dirty, filthy work, and actually quite dangerous. But nonetheless, that's what we do. The biggest problem that a boat owner has is that, unlike a motor car, which has actually always got some sort of basic intrinsic value because they're made of metal, fiberglass has no intrinsic value. So boat owners are paying quite a lot for us to, in effect, chuck this in the ground. Fiberglass in its truest sense is nice and clean and just straightforward, like we see here. Boat manufacturers are still making boats out of fiberglass because actually it's cheap. But nobody's considering what happens to these boats in 20 years' time that are being made today. The benefit to us of having fiberglass that is recyclable would be dramatic. But right now, there is no true end-of-life use for fiberglass.
Hello, my name is Maarten. I'm one of the founders of La Bella Verde, charter company in Ibiza, born from the idea that leisure or tourism should not have any negative impact on the nature that we are trying to enjoy. First of all, we converted a bunch of older boats, which we converted them to electric solar, so at least we're not using fuel anymore. But for us it was never really enough. So we partnered up with Innovation Yachts in France, and with them we are now building a fully recyclable composite boat. We are using a special custom-made epoxy, which is biocompatible, so it is harmless to health and nature. We will also take responsibility for the end-of-life handling of the boats that we sell. We will actually buy the composite material back and recycle 100% of it.
Asociația Ivan Pațaichin s-a înființat acum 10 ani de zile de către campionul olimpic, multicampion olimpic Ivan Pațaichin, născut și crescut în delta Dunării. Așa am început să promovăm ideea de turism folosind barca cu vâsle și ne-am apucat să construim bărci. Dacă în 2006 se construiau 300 de bărci tradiționale pentru pescari din lemn, astăzi nu se mai construiește niciuna. Toate bărcile sunt din fibră de sticlă, care ajung într-un final de viață pe fundul apei.
Noi, scafandrii, găsim uneori scufundate epave de nave care reprezintă o atracție pentru cei care practică diving-ul sportiv. În ultimii ani găsim tot mai multe bărci din fibră de sticlă abandonate, care sunt departe de a fi o atracție. Devin o sursă de poluare din ce în ce mai mare, pe care nimeni nu își dorește să o mai vadă. Vrem pe această cale să tragem un semnal de alarmă, ne dorim ca lumea să înțeleagă cât de nocive sunt bărcile din fibră de sticlă pentru mediul subaquatic și sperăm să vedem din nou pe ape și din ce mai puțin sub ape bărci din materiale prietenoase cu mediul.
Legend has it that the first 16-foot fiberglass day boat was built in 1953 in the USA, and the material was chosen as it had been successfully used for coffins, which would never rot away under the ground. How sad it is that nearly 70 years later, there are still literally thousands of fiberglass boat hulls, either whole or cut into pieces, getting into landfill where they will still be in 1,000 years' time. The boating industry has not got its collective heads together enough to come up with the end-of-life solutions for the products that it produces. It's called product stewardship, and it has to come to all industries, including ours, if we are to look forward to a better, environmentally sustainable planet for future generations to enjoy.
The GRP has been manufactured about 70, 80 years ago, and it was this wonder material that gave the boating industry in particular everything they wanted. A fisherman once told me that when he got his first GRP boat, it was like Christmas every day. Unfortunately, nobody thought about what's going to happen with this material at the end of life. The root of the problem is the material, the GRP material, and the lack of legislation or the lack of possibilities for this material to be recycled or to be disposed of in a very environmentally friendly way. So the industry and the local, national, international authorities will have to come together and find a solution to this problem, because at the moment the boating industry is booming. Everybody wants to be on the water. We're coming out of a pandemic. We just want to enjoy ourselves. And I am a little bit afraid that we might forget about our impact on the environment.